Hey, friends, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Today I have Amy Novak from at Clutter Care. She's got all the good stuff for us. We're going to talk about Google, the new rule that just implemented on February 1st of 2024 that you need to know about. And then we are going to answer some questions that my members gave that they have got to know the answer to from Amy. Excuse me. So thank you so much, Amy, for being on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for asking me. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. So will you tell us just a little bit about you before we jump into the Google stuff?
Sure. I've been a professional organizer for 4 years, home, paper, and digital organizing. And before that, I was an orchestra teacher. And when I was a teacher, I became a Google certified trainer, which is why I'm here today. And I do have a YouTube channel where I talk a lot about Google and Google tools and Google for Business. So come check me out there at Clutter Care. And I'm here today to talk about all things Google.
Yeah, no, I love it because what we were talking about before we hit record is all of us as professional organizers, we love the working with clients part. Like that comes easy to most of us. But now I own a business and now I'm supposed to do all the things a business owner should do. Plus, now I've got to do social and email marketing and it's a lot, especially when you're first getting started. So I always advise my girls maybe not to start necessarily from the get-go, like adding email marketing to them. But I know that a lot of my listeners, even if they're not just getting started, they're interested in it or they are far enough in it to where they're ready to start implementing and they're interested in learning more about it. So I'm so thankful to you for coming on and talking to us about it. Um, so will you tell us a little bit about what's happening and like anything that you know about what's happening?
Sure, absolutely. So, you were talking about, not adding too many systems, and I feel like everybody that I've talked to in the last few months is trying to streamline systems and pare down. And the way I like to say it is that Google Workspace is your foundation for everything else that you're going to do in your business. Because it has email, because it has a Google Drive, which is a place to store your files, because it has a calendar that connects with everything. It's kind of like your hub for everything, and all the other programs that you're going to add on integrate with it. So the rules that we're talking about today are being implemented because a lot of business owners, when they start, they're like, oh, I'll just get a free Gmail address for my business. And then I'm not spending any money and I can just run with it. And I have an email address. Well, that's great. But the point now is that people with at gmail.com addresses for businesses are the ones that Google and Yahoo are trying to um, regulate at this point because they don't want those business owners sort of spamming their clients. And it's hard to tell if you're an at Gmail address if you're actually a business. So the goal now is if you're doing email marketing, that you really need an email address like mine is amy at cluttercare.net. So it's not an at gmail.com email address for my business. So the first thing you need to know is if you're still using an at gmail.com address for your business, you are not allowed to use that for email marketing. And you need to get, if you want to stick with Google, then you need to get a Google Workspace. It's only $6 a month for one user, so it's not high cost. And I can help you set it up and even give you a little discount. So that's fine, but you really do need to move to a business address. It looks more professional, and then if you set it up correctly on the back end, then your emails will go through to your clients and not get considered spam. So that's
Yeah. Well,
the
and it
main.
kind of reminds me, it kind of reminds me of whenever like Google Maps there for a little bit. All of these things where you would start to search for something and there would be like a random warehouse that would show, or like it wasn't actual places or businesses. And they now, like as you were saying that, it just reminded me it's been a minute since I've seen those because Google has implemented new things. And yes, we all get frustrated with Google, but as business owners, they're essential to our business and to being able to reach our customers. And so making sure that we have those foundations in place really are everything as to whether our business is going to succeed or not, in my opinion, and in what I've seen.
Yeah, agreed. And the earlier you can get that business email address as opposed to an ad Gmail, the fewer places you have to change it later. And the more, that foundation is laid for you to then do all the other things that you want to do. And you don't have to go ahead and change your email address later and all your logins and all the things. So we really recommend just getting, if you're a Gmail kind of person and that's what you like, not the other systems that are out there, then you go ahead and get a Google Workspace account right away, and then that's your foundation for everything.
Yeah. Well, and what I'm curious about, because it's what you just said, so it leads into it, is if we already are in business and we've been using Gmail, but we're not necessarily email marketing,
Mhm.
either
Right.
way, we're still going to have to, like, it's better to go ahead and switch. But if we do switch, then do we have to go back and switch our email for everything else? Or where does, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to figure out kind of like
Yeah.
for, I'm being selfish here. I apologize. But for me personally, I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, oh, now what do I do?
Right. So definitely there are ways to sort of import all those old, right? This is more technical stuff, but you can import your other email address in there, or you can just leave them separately. But really you want to do as much as possible from that one email address. It's more professional. It's a business email address. Businesses recognize it as a business address. So it's not terrible to start the other way, but Google is really pushing us to actually move that in that direction. So I'm happy to help move. I've helped many business owners move into Google Workspace and try to transfer their files and move their calendars and their emails and all that kind of stuff to get set up to move forward this way. So
Yeah. Yeah, because I was looking at it today and I really do. I use Google Calendar, I use Google Drive, I mean, I use all the Google pieces. It just never, I guess, dawned on me to until everyone started talking about this. But up until now, I've just used the, like Pro Organizers Coach at Gmail or the Love Laugh Organize at Gmail. And so yeah, awesome. Okay, so we must be a branded domain. And then are we still going to be using, because it's for the email marketing platforms is like the main thing right now for the first piece, right?
right. The main thing, yes. You can. So, and this is where the foundation piece comes in because if you, I believe, are on the second level, so not starter, but business standard in Google Workspace, then you actually can do email marketing out of your email, your Gmail account. You don't actually have to have another system like MailChimp or Keep or any other thing. You can actually do mail merge emails out of there. They added that fairly recently, and so you don't actually need to pay for another service. And they will add the unsubscribe link, which is a new requirement, right? That so you basically you can use that Google Workspace as your email marketing at the beginning if you'd like to. So that's why I say move to it sooner, because you can start doing mass emails to your list from there if you want without paying for another thing. So then you do have the unsubscribe link at the bottom. So that's
Um,
one. Mhm.
and that actually, if our business and our website is through like Squarespace, right? Like is where I'd have my websites. Then that's the, like, does that integrate with Google to where you're able to get like the info at, because I think on Squarespace it asks you like, do you want to sign up for Google? Okay. So
Yep.
should we go into our Squarespace or into our website platform to sign up for Google Workspace?
You can. That's fine. You can also just go through Google itself. That's either way. But whatever you do, make sure you come get a code from me so you get a discount. Um, just email me. We can give you a code. Either way is fine. It doesn't matter. It's just sort of who you're paying, I think, or I don't know if there's an upcharge if you go through Squarespace versus just Google itself. But yeah, it doesn't matter. But I will say one of the pitfalls that I've seen is people who are using GoDaddy for their domain, or have their domain registered at GoDaddy. If you say, yes, I want email with that, it defaults to Microsoft. So just beware.
Mm-hmm.
that you're actually choosing whichever system you want and not just going with whatever default comes with the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people have done it by accident, and then we have to undo it in order to get their Google Workspace. So
Yeah.
it's a little tricky.
Yeah,
Mhm.
gotcha. No, that's a good tip for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so whenever I know you wanted to talk about spam complaints when it comes to the actual email marketing, so do you care to, like, talk a little bit about that?
The rule says that your spam complaints need to be low. It says no more than one complaint for every 1,000 emails. So if you're not doing a lot of email marketing, this is not going to really affect you. But if you're sending out lots and lots of emails, it matters. What that really means is, it's not the unsubscribe, but it's like this person has been spamming me a lot and it's a problem. So it's just if your threshold gets above one complaint for, excuse me, every 1,000 emails, like Google's going to crack down on you and put you in spam more often and kind of not let your emails go through. So it's just a, a rule to know about and a precaution, but most of us probably are not going to have that issue unless we're sending out tons of emails. Um, so
Yeah, and well, and I think exactly what you said of just as long as it's got that unsubscribe link, that's the main thing because then if people, like for me, if someone's bugging me too much, but I know I signed up for their emails, then I'm like, okay, I just need to unsubscribe versus if I went to unsubscribe, there was not an unsubscribe button and then I kept getting those. Like we all know we're going to get stuff from businesses, but I think as organizers, have you actually, you would be a person to ask, have you seen with emails specifically for organizers, like a good rule of thumb of like the amount of emails that kind of seem to work? Because I have some women that they do like a monthly newsletter and they just kind of leave it at that just to kind of stay front of mind, but still, not blow up someone's email constantly.
sure. I feel like either once a month newsletters are great. I've also seen, once a week kind of Tuesday tips or, something like that. I feel like if you're at once a month or once a week, you're going to be, fine. I don't think anybody's going to, scream about it. I do get emails from other people more often than that, and I do find it frustrating, but I know how to use my Gmail filters to sort of like get those out of my inbox before I even see them. So, like, they might still be coming, but they're not flooding my inbox the way, they're not in my face, in my view. So I just kind of ignore it. So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother class, but Gmail filters are a thing so that you can automatically do stuff with them that you want, whether it's, file it automatically or whatever, so that you have it for reference, but it's not, clogging up your inbox. So
Yeah, and honestly, I have found, like, even with QuickBooks, for instance, like, this year when I went to file my taxes, because I had added my rules for each transaction, I go into like, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do the whole year because we moved this year and it was a hot mess. I was staying on top of it weekly before that, but I got out of the habit. But anyways, I go in and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, there's, like, 5 or 6 things for the whole year that I had to even do anything about because I'd already set up those filters or rules or systems ahead of time, and it was nice, like, sitting down thinking I'm gonna have to spend all this time getting things all ready for taxes, and then I'm like, "Oh, they're done."
I love it. I love it. Right. So helpful when we can, yeah. And it's knowing our systems and processes that allow us to make those rules. Right. This is the digital organizing end of things. So, right, the professional organizers, we think of organizing our physical stuff and our papers, but this digital organizing, setting up systems in here is equally as important to keep ourselves, like you said, calm and prepared for the tax season
Yeah.
and everything else. So,
Well, and the more that we get to know it, if someone calls and is as an organizer and is like, "Hey, I really need help with this thing," or then all of a sudden it becomes something that we can help others with because we have learned how to do it ourselves. And
I
that's
love it.
what organizing is, learning those systems and then helping others do it. Okay, so you also wanted to talk about the full authentic hello, authentication that
Yeah.
needs to be properly confirmed. So will you talk about that?
Sure. So this was a learning curve for me in the last few weeks, honestly. And I will refer to somebody else to actually help you with this part because this is beyond my IT level. But the goal is DKIM, SPF, and DMARC are very technical things that you have to do on the back end of your domain name. So wherever you have signed up for your domain name, there are DNS records. So it's basically like the traffic cop for the internet. Like, does this email go this way or that way? Is this allowed through or not? Is it spam or not? Are you, has this person said, yes, you can email me? So it's basically just a bunch of lines of code that need to get added to your DNS records wherever that lives. And it sort of authenticates that you are a real business, that you can send this person emails, and it sort of monitors everything. So this is where my abilities stop. I've tried to do some of it, and I'm like, never mind, I'm just going to hand it over to the professionals. So I have a couple people in mind, but one of the people definitely can, I've got some links I can give you. So if this is not set up, you can call these people and they will help do this. And I recommend it. So if you have a domain based email, so not an at gmail.com, and you've moved into Google Workspace or any other system, then you really should double check with this company to make sure that those three things are set up: DKIM, SPF, and DMARC. And then if they're not set up correctly, they can help you do that. And then
And
all
essentially,
your
if those aren't set up correctly, that's why we're going to spam in people's emails.
correct. Yep,
Uh,
exactly. So you really need to get that set up. But of course, you can't get that set up until you have a Google Workspace account. So it kind of backtracks the other way. Yep,
Yeah, no, 100%. I just wanted to make sure we went through your list of everything that we wanted to talk to everyone
absolutely.
about. And then, okay, so we've got group questions, which I'm so excited about because I popped it in my membership and I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk to Amy. Anybody got questions about Google or the email stuff or whatever? And like everyone was like, yes, yeah, and like sending these questions. And the
Sure.
reason I like doing that is because I know if they're struggling with it or if they are needing the answers, then probably people that are listening or watching are needing those same things answered. And so one of them is, do you have any suggestions for leaving Google reviews? And the reason she specifically was asking is because she has older clients that are having trouble. And one client has posted a review 3 times and it has never showed up.
Yeah, so I don't know, probably 6 months ago, apparently Google let a lot of people go or downsize their staff. And some of those are people that are actually checking those reviews and making sure they're fine or allowing them to go on or whatever it is. And so they're down staffed. And so things I've heard for the last 5 to 6 months, just across the board, that not all Google reviews that are being left are actually showing up. So it's nothing that this one person did, it's just a Google glitch. And I want to say hopefully it's temporary, right? But it's happened multiple times. I hear of it all the time. So it's not ideal, it's not the best situation for everybody, but I would say still don't shy away from sending that link and asking for reviews. I guess my backup would be, I used to have a Google form where I'd have them actually give me feedback first, and then at the end of that I would be like, and if you would also leave a Google review, that'd be great, because we don't want to lose that feedback as an organizer, right? You want that to be able to post on social media. You want to be able to say, this is what my client said on your website. These are testimonials. So I feel like one way to solve that is to either have them email you directly or create a Google form that they can fill out so you get that feedback and then say, hey, would you please also leave a Google review? Because then you're not losing that feedback. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, not losing the feedback and being able to, like you said, use it because testimonials matter in our business. And if one specific person is having trouble leaving Google reviews, it is a nuisance to have to keep like asking them. So that's a way for them to still feel like they accomplished what they were trying to do for us. And like you said, it gives us the feedback. And then we're at least still getting to use that review in places. I've also heard it said that if someone, like if they are older and they've maybe not like done an update, or if they haven't like verified something, or like there could be a lag. But then there's also the spam part of this, or like the essentially the filters Google is now using on reviews to be like, oh, this is red flagged, when there's not anything red flagged in it necessarily. But there's a number of reasons that it could be. And so it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what, but I like what you said about that way you can still get that information back and use it as a business. And you could always send them to leave you a 5-star review on your Facebook page if you have a Facebook business page. So then you're still at least showing up as a review, because once you get, is it 5 or 7 Facebook reviews, it links with your Google business page. So
Oh,
as soon
okay.
as your Google business profile pops up, the Facebook reviews show right there too.
Perfect. Did not know. See? Everybody learning. I love it. All right.
Um,
I love that.
y yeah, and so, um, this kinda goes along with it, which is SEO words. So one of the members was saying, "Is there any tips for keeping our Google business page at the top?" She hasn't gotten any activity on her page. She has 9 5-star reviews, pictures, etcetera, but what specific SEO words or phrases will attract attention? And then any other tips for ranking as a local service provider?
Sure. That was like 3 or 4 questions, but they all relate to the same thing. So I just kind of put them together. So when we are talking about trying to get to the top of the page, right? Um, SEO is the overarching thing, search engine optimization. So Google's main thing is that it's a search engine. Um, it searches everything, the internet, all over the place, and included in that is, yes, we want to talk about keywords. So one of my resources talks about doing keyword research before you pick your domain name, before you write your description, before you write your website, because those keywords that you are aiming for need to be literally everywhere. So who's your ideal client? That's going to be different for every organizer. Some are working with downsizing, some are working with young moms, some are working with, kids. So whatever your ideal client is, you got to, brainstorm a whole list of keywords for yourself, and then use a thesaurus and find some other ones. And then what services do you want to sell? Some people are more decluttering, some people are more staging, some people are functional organizing, right? So use those words to your specific clientele that are really going to make you stand out, and your ideal clients will find you. So that's important. The other thing to think about is that, I know we don't think about this, but this is where the digital end of it comes, is that when you put photos, somebody said, well, I put photos on my, business profile. Okay, but are the photos actually named with your keywords? So when you name it, is it image 520, or is it, closet before picture? You know what I mean? So the name of the
In
photo.
our system, like when we go to download the actual photo in our system. That was actually gonna be a question I had for you, because I was going into Google actually just I think yesterday or day before, and I was gonna upload a photo, and I could have sworn you used to be able to put a description. And now I couldn't find it anywhere, and I was like, okay, either I've lost my mind or they've changed something, but who knows? Could be
Right.
either." But my thought was, I was like, "Okay, now how are we gonna get our SEO words on the photo?" So, okay, I see what you're saying, where when you go into Canva and you create, let's say, your before and after photo, you wanna go up to that top thing, and where it says template, you actually wanna put in before and after kitchen decluttering in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yep, that would be great, right? And I name every single slide or page, whatever it is. So when I download, like, the overarching before and after in Tennessee, can be the file name, like the Canva, right, file. But then each slide, this is kitchen before, kitchen after, pantry before, pantry after, so that when you're downloading those images, that the full title shows up and that those words are there. Yes. And then when you upload them into Google Business Profile, the name of the photo is part of your SEO. Correct.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
Yep.
that's super helpful because I was just talking to someone about it and that's what got me looking at it and I'm like, cuz my advice to her was I was like, "Oh no, there's a place to put your description and your SEO words." And then she's like, "No, there's not." I'm like, "Yes, there is." And then I went and looked and I'm like, "Oh gosh, she's right. There's not."
I think in Google Photos, I think you can add a description somewhere, but I definitely just do the file name. And then also, speaking of that, I know it's not exactly related, but very similarly, when you go to do your website, also of course name those photos correctly, but also on a website there's what we call alt tags. So it's if somebody is blind, um, and they hover over the picture, it will actually, and they're using like a screen reader, it will actually say what the image is of, and you can put that alt text in. So again, if it's a pantry before, the alt text I'm going to put in is pantry before photo, because that's another place where Google looks for SEO keywords. So every photo on your website should have alt tags that
And
describe what it
the
is. And that's another place to put keywords.
Yeah, no, that's great. The other, I was telling someone the other day, I'm like, I know this sounds like a lot of like technical stuff, but especially when you say SEO, it sounds so fancy. For me, if I think about it as photos we used to have on the back, we would flip it over and be like, beach trip 1993 or like whatever. Like if you think of it that way, you're literally just titling your photo what it's of. And then you go in, you put those words in, and then that way, because the internet has no way to look at a photo and be like, oh, that's a kitchen decluttering before and after. It's just a photo until you put those words to it. Then the internet is like, oh, it's a kitchen decluttering before and after.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love the back of the photo. That's perfect. I'm going to use that. Thank you.
Take it. Yes,
That's
for
great.
sure.
I love it.
Um,
So
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so even after the keywords and the photos, there's a bigger, even bigger picture, which is, I learned this from a Google guru, is that basically Google is not just looking at Google Business Profile. When it is ranking you, it is also ranking you based on, do you have a live website? Are you putting stuff on Facebook and Instagram? Are you on YouTube? Like, are you actively being a business out in the world, in the digital world? So just because you have a Google Business Profile and you've added photos does not mean you're going to be pulled up higher in the ranking. They want Google wants to know that you are alive and well as a business, and that means that you have to post regularly. And what does that mean? Um, Add new photos 2 to 3 times a week. And I don't know if people are using the updates at the bottom, but essentially that's another social media platform where you should be posting a couple times a week. Um,
If they
it's
listen to me, they should. My way of teaching is take the same dang photo, let's make it easy, streamline,
agree.
pop it on your Facebook, pop it on your, whatever social technically you're going to do. Then bring it over to your Google page and post it. If you need to update your website, pop it on there in your before and afters. And if you want to pop it on Find My Organizer, do that as well. So then all of a sudden with the same photo, you've updated multiple different places. But I like what you said too, because specifically the chick that was asking about this, or the lady, I'm sorry. My Southern twang coming in. She was asking, and she's only been in business a few months at this point. Like we just launched her very recently. And so what I was trying to tell her is like, yeah, so you've got reviews, you're doing fantastic. Like 9 reviews a couple months in, like you're killing it. But it also takes Google some time to be like, oh, this isn't just like somebody that started a business and then quit really quick. Like, you've got to take that time and, like you said, consistency and actually prove to Google that you are a good business that they can recommend, essentially.
Correct. And I like the word, the word consistent, right, is really huge. So my YouTube channel, so I don't know if everyone knows, but Google and YouTube are the same company. Uh, so the same rules apply. What I was gonna say though is that consistent, right? I've been told many times, like, posting videos, 3 a week and then dead for a month is no good. So I have, even if you have all of the stuff ready in a week, like, spread it out once a week and be literally consistent. So I put one out every Wednesday, Wednesday. I'm consistent. And then then YouTube has been putting out my videos more and more frequently, which is the same as Google, right? So the same goes for your business profile. Post consistently every Monday, every Wednesday, whatever your day is, but do it every single week at that same time, and that will help as well. Consistent. They want to know that you're alive and still in business, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we can, like you said, we can use, like, we can take everything we have at one time and use like a planner or something, or the social planners, the tools that we have out there on like Canva or wherever, to schedule it out for us. It's just like, just today I was on my YouTube channel doing the same thing. I was like, "Ooh, all of these videos are still private." I was like, "I need to publish each one every Friday, one per week for the next like 2 months versus, oh, let me go ahead and just make them all public right now." Like, that's no good in the digital world. Like you said, it wants to see you're alive.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, yeah,
Hmm.
and so, no, I love that. Okay, so SEO matters, but hopefully this conversation has helped any of you that are listening or watching understand that it's a little more than just the words that we're putting down on things. But I do also know that our bio on Google, the place where it says like facts about our business, like, there's other places that anywhere I can pop some keywords is where I'm going to put them, but I'm gonna do it in an organic way as if I was talking to a client.
Correct.
And yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you
So
wouldn't wanna put, like, a ton of keywords on a bio that a client could read.
correct. One of the other tips was, make sure, yes, there's the description, as you said. So Google Business Profile, description of the business, but then there's also products and services. And you don't have to put prices on that, but you do, again, this is another opportunity for you to use your keywords and explain what you do. And let's say, if you have 3 services listed on your website, those same 3 services with descriptions and pictures should be in Google Business Profile. So don't, definitely use that as an opportunity. And the Google Guru I was speaking about before also said, even if your products and services, basically you're not selling any products, you're just a service-based business, put them in products and the same thing in services, because it's more of the same words on your profile and it's just duplicating and amplifying those keywords. So,
Oh, that's a good point. I was like, yes, thinking to myself, I done that as you're saying it until you said it also in products. And I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Like, literally copy and paste essentially. But that way, because the other thing I've learned doing like the podcast and the coaching and all the things I do, and the organizing, of course, is we assume people see everything we put out, and they see like 0.1% of the stuff that we actually put out. And
right.
I know for a lot of us, especially when we're first getting started, we're like, oh gosh, I wouldn't want to duplicate something and it be exactly the same in 2 places. When really that's exactly what you want to do to give it a higher chance of being seen. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Somebody the other day was saying, if you're trying to launch something, whether it's a product or a class or whatever it is, a new service, you as the business owner want to feel like you are screaming it from the rooftops, and then they will hear it once or twice, you know?
Yes. Yeah. I heard it said, and it's always stuck in my mind of, if you're not sick of talking about it, you're not saying it enough.
Correct.
Yeah,
Agreed.
and that has stuck with me because, and I may even, bug some people with how often I'm saying things, or at least that's how I feel or what I think. But then I'll talk to somebody and they'll be like, "Oh, just the other day I heard about your membership." And I'm like, And they're like, "I've listened to every podcast episode." And I'm like, "Wait, but in every episode I talk about it and you just heard about it the other day?" Like, people are busy. Like, when they're listening to podcasts or when they're looking at something on the phone, they could also have their kids screaming in their ear and their dog barking or they're at work or like they're not fully paying attention the way that they used to.
Right. And also it's like, I've also heard a time originally it was they need to see it at least 7 times. Well, now it's probably more like 13 or 17 or more that they have to see it, or, it cross in front of their face or their ears before they actually like grab onto it and like, oh yeah, I guess I might need that or want that. So yes.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Well, and
we're
it's the same with, like, commercials, like, if you think about the commercials that we used to see, you would see the same one over and over and over and over to the point where you were like, "Oh my gosh, like, this commercial," but the second you needed whatever was on that commercial, the jingle would come in your head or the you'd be like, "Oh, yeah, that company." As
right.
business owners, we have to inform people because if we don't inform them, they're like, no one's gonna do it for us. It's
Correct.
just us, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the other question, Trista actually was saying that she has Google Drive and she has Google Photos app installed on her iPhone. Her photos automatically get saved from her phone to the Google Photo app. So should she put any of them into Google Drive or is Google Drive the same as Google Photos?
So they are two separate things. I will caution you about a couple things. So Google Photos is one app that is kind of like, the Photos app on iPhone, but it's Google's version, right? Um, and Google Drive is for more than photos. So Google Photos app is really for just photos and videos. Whereas Google Drive, you can house literally any kind of file you want, a PDF, an image, a doc, an Excel file, a PowerPoint, like literally any kind of file you want, audio recording, anything. So they are two different things, they function differently. Um, if you and now that I'm saying that, and please remember that when you are, I've had this happen to so many people, that's why I'm saying it. Um, Many people have a work Gmail or Google account and a personal Gmail or Google account. I'm not sure which one of those photos are syncing to. So generally they only sync to one at a time. So a lot of people have, yes, they're getting backed up to your Google account, but which one? And a lot of people have it going to their personal. Well, but you have work photos in there. You have all your before and afters, all your staging, all your promo shots, like all the stuff is in there, but it's work. But now it's backing up to your personal Gmail account. So now your personal storage you need to increase, right? So yes, it's getting backed up to your Google Photos, but which account and where do you actually want that stuff? So that's one reason I say put them in your Google Drive. The other reason I say to put them in your Google Drive is what we were talking about a second ago, which is naming them. And right, yes, I can put a description and stuff in my photos, but I can't, it's harder to pull photos from there into my website or some other place. So I think about it this way: your Photos app is for scrolling through and looking at them visually, right? I can see what's in there. I can put them in albums, like a photo album. I can share the photo album with somebody. We can even collaborate in there. But when those photos go into there, they're actually getting compressed a little bit. So if you are going to want to print it really big, if you're a professional photographer, you don't want them in Google Photos because it's smushing it. It's You're losing quality. Um, so that's one issue. It is good for searching for people by face or searching by location or searching for an object. So I know you were talking about kitchen. So you could say like coffee pot or dishwasher, and it might actually find it because it's Google Photos and because it does that optical recognition kind of stuff. But again, it's not named the right way and it's downgraded in quality of the photo. So they each have their pros and cons, right? So I would say that yes, it's fine to have them backed up to one account. That's fine. But is it the account you want, and is it the type of file you want for use later? So it's kind of what's your purpose for having them. Um, the other thing I will say is that in Google Drive, right, you can put them in client folders. You can name them the right way. You could put them with the date. You can pull them into um, your website or other places a little bit easier, and you're not going to lose quality. So there's that. There's one more thing that just was like in my head and poof. Um, I think it comes back to the storage issue as well for a lot of people. Like, you don't want to pay for more personal storage if those are work photos. So you can try to get them into your work Google Photos account, but I think it's a little easier just to pull them down and put them into your drive. Um, yeah, so it's there are pros and cons to each, but it comes down to like what kind of quality photo you want, what you're going to do with it later, and storage. So,
Yeah, well, and because even when it comes to like what I have seen is as my business has gotten farther along is like with Canva, with
mm,
mainly Canva, but also with like Facebook, like all the things. It really is a lot easier if you have it in a file on Google Drive and you've connected your Google Drive, then all of a sudden it's just there. Versus I've had the issue before where exactly what you said, it had connected to my personal, and then all of a sudden I'm looking on my phone and there's all the photos. And then I'm looking in my Canva on my computer and I'm like, where's my photos? And so it's annoying as crap to have to deal with this stuff, but at the same time, it's so worth putting that time we have right now into getting it set up correctly. So later, when we're busy, we're working with clients, things are going on. And then all of a sudden, we're like, oh, I need to make a before and after post real quick. It's already in our Google Drive in the correct folder, right where we need it to be. We are organizers. So if we start thinking about our digital stuff the way we would think about someone's kitchen or pantry or whatever, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that would make more sense to have it easy to access in the right real estate, prime real estate, all the things we say as organizers.
definitely. I will say, I just did a video 1 or 2 weeks ago. I put it on YouTube about how to get them easily into your Google Drive. And somebody was like, but why do I need it in Google Drive? It's in Google Photos. So we just answered that question. But um, my tip for that is to actually put Google Drive on your phone, go into the Google Drive app and pull the photo in there. Then you can kind of delete it out of your other space and not have it take up space. But do the transfer on your phone. It'll be a lot easier than trying to email it to yourself or some other crazy thing. So
Right, and we've all been there where we've been like, "Oh my gosh, okay, here it is. Now how do I get it here? What do I do? How do I do?" Like, yeah, all the things. But what I love is that your entire channel is dedicated to this, to Google, to figuring all this stuff out, especially as organizers, because that's what you do every day. So, like, you are exactly who we should be going to. So, thank you for doing all your content you do on YouTube and for helping us answer all these questions that we are all stuck on all the time. Like we are all in good company if we're getting stuck on this stuff. But yeah, it's awesome. So tell them where they can find you, like your website and all of that kind of good stuff.
sure. So I am at cluttercare.net, and contact me pages there as well. On YouTube, I am at cluttercare, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram similarly. So yeah, I'm here, and please, subscribe to the YouTube channel every Wednesday. Hopefully later in the year it'll be more than that, but happy to help, and I can definitely get you a discount on Google Workspace if you need to shift there, and just all the good things. So I'm really appreciate being asked, and I'm glad to be here, and love being in a community of professional organizers, and
Mhm.
organizing digital Google is my thing. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad there are people like you out there because a lot of us are not those people, but then, you come across someone like you and it's like, well, of course they can organize digitally. they're seeing it in the way when we go into a client's home, we see the client's space. And so, yeah, 100% the way we know our clients need us is the way that I now know we need you. So,
I'm
I
glad to be
appreciate you
here.
being there.
Anytime, glad to be here and help.
Yeah, and then for you listening, we appreciate you listening, and we will definitely catch you in the next one. Oh, and if you're listening on YouTube, subscribe to my channel too. I would definitely appreciate it, and have a blessed evening.